Hello and welcome to the 157th episode of Downtime Podcast with Alyssa and Jeremy. It is February. It is the first time we're recording together. I am looking forward to this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our last few episodes that were recorded last year. Alyssa, how's it going?
Not too bad. Today's Super Bowl. I'm gonna cook lunch at some point, and yeah, there's really not much to it, except I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, which we will talk about. How about you?
Yes. So I tried playing Dead by Daylight the other day, and it kept crashing on me, and it wasn't just me. It was like everyone in my group, the game kept crashing, and we're like, you know what? I think it's time we take a break. So we're taking an indefinite hiatus from the game.
An indefinite hiatus.
That's what it feels like.
This sounds...
And I'll tell you why.
Okay, I was about to say, this sounds so dramatic.
I know. Well, okay. To me, it's a little dramatic because it's a game that I've been playing every day since September 2019, almost every day. And when you put a lot of time and especially money, like I have bought like DLC and I've bought like costumes for characters and stuff, and I've never done things like that before in a game. So when I did that, like, it's an investment, and the point of it is, you know, you're going to be playing it every day. You're going to be involved in the entire community and have an understanding of what's going on with the game and what's going on with the devs. And yeah, I mean, as of today, I stopped playing it for like a week and a half, and I think it feels good. It's a good feeling to not be playing the game right now because, you know, you got to play other games. And the reason why I'm taking a short hiatus is because we've been playing my group and we've been playing The Forest. Have you heard of that game?
No, I have not.
It's a game about a survivor who crash lands on an island, and then you have to figure out and find your son who's been kidnapped by the island natives. So we're playing that. We're trying to figure out where the son went.
Is it?
And it's been exciting. It's been a thrill. The game is single player, but it also has multiplayer co-op. So up to 8 people can be on one server, and there's 5 of us playing right now, and we're all trying to survive. We're building up our little base. So there's elements of the game that are like Minecraft, but also kind of like other survival horror games you could think of, because it's first person.
Oh, so this is a horror game.
Weapons you can have. Yeah, it's a horror game. There's a lot of scary shit. There's a lot of scary shit on the island, so you just got to be careful. You got to watch out for that stuff. Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and that's been taking up all our time. Like, literally the other day, we started at like 7, and then we played until like 2 a.m. and we're like, oh shoot, like, we gotta go to bed in real life. Like,
do you really though?
We're so invested in the game now. It's a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding, but also very frustrating when it comes to like little mini bosses, because there's bosses that will spawn on the surface, and then surface meaning that you can also go underground. There's bosses that will spawn on the surface, and then the more you build your base out, the more they will spawn. And so this will force you to upgrade your weapons, get better weapons, and defend your base more. So we've been playing this game a lot. It's been a ton of fun, yeah, I don't really see myself playing DBD for a while, simply because I've invested so much time in The Forest now. Now, granted, this isn't the first time I've played The Forest. The first time I played The Forest was back in 2016, when it was a little bit more of a different game. So I'm pretty familiar with the game overall. It's just I want to, get better at the game and continue playing it, and experience a different side of the game with more people. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I've been up to.
For sure.
And on top of that, I moved, so that is probably the reason why you guys didn't hear me in the last short podcast that Alyssa did. And yeah, I moved. I am fully moved into my new place. I love it. With everything, there's highs and there's lows. Some of the highs being, I have faster internet now, which is amazing. And some of the lows being, it gets really cold here because we have hardwood floors, and before we had carpet, and that kind of retained heat better. But now that we're in a place that is a lot more open and has hardwood floors, it doesn't really retain the heat, and it gets really, really cold at night. So if it's like 46 degrees outside, you're gonna feel it inside if you don't have a heater on. And overall, I love the location. I love where we are. I love everything about the place, and I couldn't complain more. There were no issues with the move. And yeah, it's been good. It's been a ton of fun setting everything up. But I'm just happy to be here now, and I'm ready to talk about video games, talk about more stuff, and yeah.
In general, I do prefer hardwood floors to rugs and carpet flooring. I mean, even though it does get cold unless you're in because in Asia they have the type of heater where it's not centralized heating. The floors are heated. So,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that's just not the way the architecture works over here. But even if it does get cold, I do think that hardwood in general is better.
Yeah, aesthetically, I like it a lot more.
Yeah.
I just like how it feels. Like, it's easier to like put certain things on a hardwood floor and have it be level as opposed to on a carpet where it could sink a little bit and you have to adjust for that.
Yeah.
But that's just me being picky. So yeah, I want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima a little bit.
Yes.
And your feeling when you saw the title card for the first time.
So, I think I've talked about this briefly, but in just playing the first 20 seconds of the game, my feeling was, holy crap, this is a beautiful game, and I have a really crappy TV, and I need to get a new TV. Was really like my true reaction of playing this game, even when it's nighttime in Tsushima. The lighting and the contrast and all the colors, I think, are. I wouldn't say the game is like color balanced in a way that things are neutral. They purposefully make things more saturated and pop. But I'm enjoying that type of art style right now and cinematography for the game. So
yes.
So I actually do think that the high saturation fits for the game. And then when you're going through the title, you're trying to escape and go through the town with Yuna after the samurais have all been captured, after your uncle's been captured, and Jin and Yuna are going through, killing some Mongols, and then eventually you get on your horse, you find your horse for the first time, and it's the first time you two separate, and Jin's just riding through a field of flowers, and the title card comes in, was a very gorgeous scene that I also felt, wow, I have a really bad TV for this game.
I teared up a little bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, and the music's swelling, and I was like, yo, this game is so fucking cool.
The soundtrack is on fire. I love all the instrumentals, all the string instrumentals, just in between moments, just when you're out in the wild, when they pluck the strings when you know something's gonna happen or you should expect something. All the musical cues and sound is, and just the soundtrack is really good. That really played well to the intro. And it was also, I was expecting the title card to kind of come right after you tried to infiltrate the castle, but instead it comes when all the flowers are out in the field. It was a very good choice in terms of setting up the game. And
I love that. Yeah.
And on top of that, you just know from that title card that, man, this is going to be a crazy world. That's going to have a lot to offer.
Yeah. I love that you're still playing the game while the title card shows up.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, damn. This is so cool.
It does remind me of Japanese movies where sometimes the title card comes when there's some action scene kind of just occurred and the main character is kind of walking on a sidewalk, and then all of a sudden the title card appears. That was very Japanese movie-esque for sure.
Oh yeah, extremely cinematic.
Yeah,
and I'm here for it.
I'm not playing the Kurosawa mode. I haven't even tried it yet, just because I'm totally fine. But I'll probably try it when I finish the game. Not play through the whole thing in Kurosawa mode, but just like watch some cutscenes and see what that actually looks like. Did you play it in Kurosawa mode yet? Is it worth it?
So, I'm a huge fan of Akira Kurosawa's movies, especially Seven Samurai. And when I heard that this mode was going to be a thing, I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's going to be cool. And I tried it out, and I actually don't really like it that much, simply because it's more of an aesthetic thing, and I understand what they're trying to do with it, because it does look like, you know, you're in a movie from that era, the 50s, namely the 50s and 60s. But I don't know, for this kind of video game, it just doesn't feel right. But aesthetically, it is really, really cool that they put in the dedication and time to have a filter where it has like randomly generated little like, you know, old TV specs that are, you know, are on the screen, making it black and white, and also adding a voice filter. I think that's really, really cool.
I see.
But I felt like it was kind of detracting, and it was taking a lot away from what the game is, which is color, because it's so beautiful, and there's so many different varied colors and environment that when you play it, you're like, you don't know where you are unless like, or what season it is, because you can't see the colors, because, you know, they're like, you know, every section kind of shows a different season. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but yeah, I encourage you to try at least once, Alyssa, and let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'll probably do it after I finish the main story.
Yeah,
just to see what a cutscene looks like.
And you said you're getting a new TV, right?
Oh yeah, my intention is I will have a new TV before I finish this game, so that.
Oh man.
Because there's 3 acts to this. I thought there were 2, but turns out there's 3 acts. So ideally, I get a new TV by the end of the 2nd act. And
okay, cool. Yeah.
That should all work out. Though I will say, I don't even know where I am in the storyline of Act 1. Because for the past, I think I've put in maybe 15, 20 hours into this game so far, and I'm pretty sure only 4 of those hours are actual main storyline.
I totally get it. Did you finish Act 1?
No, I don't even think I did. In fact, so you know how you're recruiting everyone to help you break into the castle to rescue Shimura.
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet all of these people along the way, it's like you meet each person that you're recruiting on your team, but they have kind of different chapters within each person. So it's like, right. So for example, Taka, Yuna's brother, it's like I rescued Taka, and then now Taka has 3 stories under him. Right. So it's like it's similar. So yeah, I think I've only hit like 3 stories per person right now. for each person I'm trying to recruit.
No, I feel it, because that's how I felt about meeting Ishikawa sensei. I was like, dude, I want to just help you out because his missions are so interesting too. Um, and yeah, when a new character comes up and they have a bunch of missions, especially like, um, in the later game, I was like, dude, I want to help you out and I want to do stuff because I think your story is going to be so cool. And I always get distracted by that, and that's okay because I feel like the side stories definitely help lead up to the bigger story.
I totally feel that. Like I said, I've been playing majority of the side stories right now, and I know that I've barely, I haven't even hit, like, maybe 5% of the side stories. There's just so many that in my head, how many hours do people put into this game? I remember talking to someone, I was talking to a coworker and they were telling me, like, oh, you can finish the game in 20 hours. It's really quick. I was like, really? Okay. And then now I'm almost hitting 20 hours. I'm like, wait, so does that mean you finished the game in 20 hours and you didn't do, like, find the foxes, find the haikus, you didn't help everyone deliver their socket, so you didn't do any of that? And he was like, oh, yeah, I just, like, did the main mission. And I was like, oh, gosh.
Okay,
so
I get that, but at the same time, you're not appreciating everything else about the game that's beautiful.
Man, I can't imagine, I really can't imagine finishing this game in 20 hours. Like, even the main storyline, I can't imagine finishing this in 20 hours. The battle system's kind of hard, in my opinion.
It is very difficult, but it is, once you master it, you're like, okay.
It took me...
But initially, I was so frustrated.
It took me a while to get the parry, especially with Mongols and their spears. That took a while for me to figure out because there's the move where you parry and then you can do an immediate strike after, but every time I dodged, it would do the big dodge and it didn't do the sidestep dodge. And I was trying to for like a lot of the beginning of the game, I was trying to figure out, geez, like, how, like, I feel like I'm timing it correctly, but my circle isn't hitting. And then I really just, on Wednesday, was finally where I feel like I started getting into the groove of the battle system and comfortably switching between stone and water and figuring, like, it took me a while to get used to throwing kunais because I just felt like I think it was L1 or R1 to hit it, but every time instinctively I would think it's R2 or like L2. There's a lot of different buttons for different weapons, more than I was expecting, and I think it's very difficult to master.
Agreed.
And just out of curiosity, when you were playing this game, what was your priority in terms of where you put your technique points?
So if I recall, there's a lot of different sections to put things. So there's different stances, and then there's the samurai side and the ghost side, right?
Yes.
So,
and then there's also defensive parry moves versus attack moves.
Oh yeah, okay. So I try to make it even everywhere, but of course that's kind of difficult because you can't really do that. You kind of have to focus on one style and one you have to kind of focus on one stance, and then you have to focus on unlocking all the stances, and then you have to focus on which style you like more playing as. In my case, I actually liked playing as the ghost a lot, so I put a lot of points into the ghost stuff because I liked the benefits that they had.
Yeah.
Some of the move sets, and then I liked a lot of the I liked all the stances actually. I would forget to use them for certain enemy types because for some reason, like, you have to think too much and which, like, buttons to press when you're in mid combat.
Completely
and I'm like,
agree.
Dude, okay.
That's why it's really hard to master. I constantly have to pause the game to figure out, wait, what am I supposed to press again?
Yeah, it's like, what stances for what again? Because I would fight like a big boy, I would fight a spear guy, like a sword grunt, and then a shield guy. I'm like, okay, I literally have to use all 4 stances to do this. And it wasn't until the later part of the game, I'd say like Act 3, when I actually did feel more comfortable switching to each different stance, and then being like, okay, I could do this. I can easily, I know what kind of enemies are up here. I can quickly switch between stances. But between Acts 1 and 2, I had a hard time trying to switch stances and being comfortable with that, because I didn't want to think too much when I was killing Mongols. I was like, yo, I just want to
Yeah.
like kill some dudes. Why do I have to think about switching stances all the time? And I got lazy towards the end of it too. I was just like, you know what? I like how this one looks. I'm just going to use this. And it wasn't as effective as using the other stances to kill enemies, but it was okay. I mean, I still killed them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Currently, I only have stone and water, and so switching between those two has been fine, but I can just imagine eventually when I have to unlock another stance that this is gonna just be another mindfuck of me to figure out my strategy.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I totally understand.
And man, sometimes I feel like I'm losing years of my life playing this game with how stressed out I get with some of these side quests.
Yeah.
So I've definitely gone down the side mission rabbit hole to the point, but also in doing this, sometimes you realize, oh, I don't think I was supposed to solve this side mission yet, because why is this so hard? And there were a lot of moments, controller throwing moments, where I saw Mongol territory. I thought, okay, let me just liberate this. And at the end of each Mongol territory, you have to defeat the leader. And I'm totally stealthing my way through the territory. I'm defeating all these people. Everything's going well. And then the last leader slays me like it's nothing. And I was just like, did I really just spend an hour just trying to strategically liberate this town, only to find out that it turns out this Mongol leader was very hard? Yes, I did. And I've had to step away and take a walk around the park.
Oh, damn.
There was this one that was near Azamo Bay where after that happened, I just had I put my controller down, I stepped away, and I just didn't play the game for the rest of the day, and I took a walk around the park, and I thought about my life and how much I wasted.
Yeah, there's that point where I definitely felt it, where I was playing the game and something happened in a mission where I died and I had to do the whole thing over again. Like, I think 2 or 3 times, and I was so frustrated. I was like, dude, oh my god, like I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Like, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Do I need to upgrade something? Like, I don't know. And I definitely had that feeling when I died to the first boss in a side mission, and I was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, come on.
What am I working towards right now?
Yeah, come on, Jen, you can do this, dude.
And oh my gosh, this morning though has been an ordeal. I find for a while I had a side mission for a musician, and I was like, oh, this is exciting. I'm gonna meet my first musician. So I go to this area, and my first musician was for this story called The Legend of Tadayori, and then you find out that Tadayori is an archer, and he has this armor that will help Jin for archery. And
yes,
everything's going well for like the first 20 minutes. Like it instructs you to go to this area. There's an area called the Violet Crown, and you're gonna find the armor there. And, doing my thing, I'm going, and then you reach the top of this mountain, and it turns out, oh, the armor's not here, but by the way, here's a map to go to a different section. And so, I'm like, okay, well, let me go to this new area. Go to the new area. Have to deal with some Mongols along the way. They weren't related to the storyline, just the fact that there were Mongols, like, in my path. And then finally get to this mountain area, and Jin's like, oh, I don't know how we climb this, so you have to figure out another way in. And I was like, that is weird. I don't know how to climb this mountain. Like it legit, like, I couldn't find the entry to going to this new section. And to the point that I had to do this, there was probably... You see, I don't even want to look it up, Jeremy, because I'm putting this story in my past now. I don't even...
Don't do it. Yeah.
I don't even want to know how I was supposed to do it. I climbed up this weird ledge, and then I dropped down from the ledge that cut half of my hit points and health. But I was like, okay, I literally don't know how I was to get here. So we're just gonna deal with this.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm most proud of with this game is I didn't need a guide to look at everything. I just played it, and I was like, okay, I could do this. But there were a couple moments where, like you, I was so confused as what to do. So, like, or where to go. So, like, I'm not going to get into too much detail about what I was looking for, but I ended up in an area that I was like, okay, like, I've never seen this before, and this does not look like where I'm supposed to go, but this looks like a boss arena. And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be here. Nothing was there. It looked very beautiful, but there's nothing there. And I was like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
Turns out, in a couple missions later, I had to go there. And I was like, oh shit, okay, so that's exactly not where I was supposed to be. So, yeah, I got lost too. And I was like, this is how you get there. Turns out the game was like, no, but okay anyways. And you could just do it.
It's so accurate. The game really is... I mean, that wasn't what you were supposed to do, but you're here, so we'll accept you.
Yeah. I guess you're here, so
I know.
Thanks for coming.
So after losing half of my health, I get to this beautiful, by the way, like, enclave, and it's another violet field, but this time it has a grave, and it's a temple, or just a small temple shrine, and man, one of the most beautiful places that I've seen so far, and there's a ton of beautiful places. I can't wait to see all the flowers, to be honest. But that was really gorgeous. And I walk.
Oh man, yeah.
I walk in. I look at the grave, and then there's someone named Kaede, and Kaede is a descendant of Tadayori, and of course you have to duel her, which, you know, it all made sense. She was actually really difficult too. It took me 2 tries to finish her, but the thing that sucked was because I did some awkward ass shit to get into that shrine. I lost half of my health. So it was like, another, like, part of the battle was just figuring out, all right, I lost my health here. So how do I defeat her? But it all worked out. I beat her in 2 tries. So
was the area on a cliff or was it in a valley?
It was like Cliff Valley.
Cliff Valley? So you saw... There's a giant tree, right? Was there lightning?
No, there was no lightning.
Okay.
That might be a different musician story.
Okay. Yeah. I think so. I don't know. I'm not sure.
For sure.
Okay. I think I know. There's like a temple, right?
Yes, it was a temple shrine.
Okay, so that's exactly the same area that I tried to go to. I was explaining earlier because I wasn't sure if that was the same one, but that's the area. I jumped down from like a higher plane, jumped into that little valley, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be here yet, huh? And then I had to go to the entrance and then come back, and then it triggered, and I was like, oh shit. The game's like, yo, that's not the right way, but okay.
I know. That's like how. Like I said, I'm not even gonna bother looking up how I was supposed to do it. This is in my past now.
Exactly. And then I figured out how to get there, and I was like, man, this is boring. The way I did was so much cooler.
I know. You defeat Kaede, and you know, she's just like, oh, I'm sorry, like, you know, I've been fighting Mongols, so, you know, I had to fight you to make sure I could trust, you know, that spiel. And then Jin's like, yeah, I'm looking for the armor. And then Kaede goes, by the way, it's not here either. I don't know where it is. And I was like, look, I think I've spent 2 to 2.5 hours unnecessarily on this story. I need to know where the armor is. And then she's just like, so there's this final place you might look, which by the way is in Azamo Bay. And then Azamo Bay is like really far down the map. And I was like,
yep.
Okay, here we go. The only thing that like made this easier was the fact that I saved Taka earlier, that I was able to fast track to that area. So that was the only redeeming factor of this. I get to this new cliff, and I see a path of violets. Okay, I should be going up here. Everything's looking good. You get to the top, and all of a sudden, there's a cutscene. There's a hostage situation going on. What the fuck is this hostage situation? Like, when did this game even have hostages? And so now it introduces a new factor that I haven't even encountered yet. The fact that there's hostages, and they're like, so you have to, when an enemy finds out that you're there, they're gonna kill the hostage. I was like, Jesus Christ! And so by the way, the musician that I met at the beginning of the story was the hostage, and then because they were trying to get him to tell the Mongols where the armor was, and there were 2 Mongols next to the hostage. So I was like, how do I even activate this so that no one die? You know, my hostage doesn't die. And so I do some dumb shit where I climb on top of another cliff. I stealth kill an archer. I climb on top of a cliff, and I jump. Now I jump to, like, imagine me jumping off a cliff to the hostage situation, to where the enemies are, and then I do a sneak attack.
Oh, nice.
And then I killed one, and then after that I had to like just kill everyone else. But I was like, wow, this is actually like I was like, this is a lot. I am doing a lot for this armor, and this better be the best damn armor of this game. And I free the musician. The musician tells me, move the shrine here and you'll get the armor. And then the armor's for archery, which by the way is actually was cool. I thought it looked pretty awesome. And then the game's like, oh, by the way, there's more Mongols along the way about to attack you. In fact, there's at least 15 that are coming at you right now. And and I was like, okay, are you kidding me? And so the point of this was they wanted you to test the archery armor. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So there's 2 archers that come in, and so I kill those 2 Mongols, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like, the armor works. This actually, like, it makes my archery faster. The half bow in general, Jeremy, is like my kryptonite. Like, in any game that involves weapons, the long range weapon is always the thing I have the difficulty with. So, after this, I was like, okay, cool. So I see the point of this. I see the point of this final stretch. You have to kill archers with your archery armor. Except, no, there's Mongols with shields that are coming at you, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna kill the musician hostage. So it's like, wait a minute. So do you want me to kill, like, these close range enemies with the archery too? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then on top of that, like, the archery armor doesn't have good armor or protection defense against close range attacks. And so, Jeremy, the moral of the story is, after I lost this 5 times, I actually changed the armor to my regular samurai armor. And I defeated the last stretch of the game, not even using Tadayori's armor like they told you to. But I was like, dude, fuck these close range enemies. I can't defeat them with this archery armor that lacks any defense. So, yes. Moral of the story is, musician stories are really difficult. And I spent way much more time than I was ever expecting on this side story.
Whenever I see him on the map, I'm like, oh shit, here we go again. Like, I know what's gonna happen. Some shit's gonna go down.
Like, I thought we were gonna have a pleasant storyline that was musician related. There was some music involved, and it was all a lie, Jeremy. I think I've lost. Like I said, I've lost years of my life this morning just on one single musician story that it just popped up a new musician storyline, and I'm so traumatized right now that I don't even know if I'm gonna play Ghost of Tsushima for the rest of the day. At least
you're like, I need a break.
I need a break. At least until after Super Bowl's over. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel it. A couple of things I want to add to that story. The map that is given to you to find that Valley of Roses. I was like, bro, I can you just tell me? Like, why do you have to give this to me? I could not find it for a long time. And then my brother was watching me, and we were both trying to figure out where it was. And then we finally found it. We're like, it's that mountain? That's the one? And then we go there, we do the fight, and then we're all bloody. She's like, all right, you beat me. I'll tell you where it is. I'm like, dude, what if your arm got cut off? We're like, would you still tell me?
Yeah.
We're both like super bloody from the fight, which I lost like 3 times already.
Yeah.
And then
these duels are difficult.
They are, and it's very frustrating when you don't win them.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't even know if I should be doing them yet. Like, I don't even know if I should, like, at this point, I'm like, maybe I should do some main storyline because these side stories are getting a lot harder.
I know, right? It's ridiculous, but it was fun overall, I would say, because it kind of gives you a taste of what you're supposed to be doing for these music stories, music side stories. At the same time, you're just so frustrated because you're like, I don't want to. Why do I have to keep doing this? I don't understand. But overall, like, yeah, I'm excited that you are enjoying the different upgrades, the different armors and stuff in the game, because a lot of them do benefit you, and you can upgrade them over time.
Oh yeah,
and
I've been upgrading.
The look and colors are different too,
yes.
So it's cool.
I've definitely been upgrading whenever I can. Whenever I'm horseback riding and I just see a glowing plant, I'm like, plant! And then I like sidetrack just to make sure I get all of these bamboos and yew woods just because you need them. And just because you have to. Whenever I see an abandoned shack, I'm like, all right, where's the supplies?
Right, yeah. The flowers.
The flowers, oh my god, they're so hard to find.
They're also they don't respawn, so all of them have an exact fixed position.
No way.
So when you get once you get them, that they're not going to respawn in that location. You have to keep going. There's a certain section in the map in Act 2 where there's just a bunch of flowers everywhere. So just keep that in mind next time you want to upgrade stuff, because that's the place to farm them. But remember that once you take them from that specific area, they will not reappear there anymore. So you have to keep looking around.
So with that in mind, all of the flower upgrades that are in the game, does it equal the amount of flowers, fixed flower numbers that exist at least?
No, but at that point you're just collecting them just because, and there's no trophy tied to that. You just get it, and then you're like, okay, cool.
I see.
I collected this many flowers. I have all the outfits, all the colors. I'm cool.
Okay.
So
for sure. Yeah.
But it's good knowing that there's more flowers than there are needed for the clothing, because it's fun. It's fun.
Oh, I love
it's a video game.
I love like customizing my clothes. That's why I'm concerned. I was concerned, but good to know that it's fine.
Yeah. I also love customizing the clothes too, because that's one of my priority focuses, and it worked out because there's a lot of really badass outfits you can have.
Yeah.
Some of them that are just looking cool, some of them that enhance your abilities, as you know. So yeah, I mean, let me know by the end of the game which were your favorite outfits to use, and I'll let you know what.
Oh yes, totally. I have to visit that golden temple. I also know that I have like 3 gifts I need to pick up, but I just need to fast travel there at some point.
Yeah, I love that area. That area is so nice. It reminds me of Kyoto.
Yes.
So the last part of Ghost of Tsushima I want to talk about before that leads into the next part.
Okay.
Was there anything else that you want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima?
Not at the moment. Aside from the fact this is a great game. I love this game, man.
Oh, I'm so happy
This is
it.
like,
I'm so happy.
I waited 4 years for this, and it was worth it. 3.5 years. We waited 3.5 years for this game. Worth every penny of it.
Yes.
Oh, one more question I had. I didn't really think about this, but because I have the deluxe version, and I guess the deluxe version came with a different horse. Do the horses matter in this game? Like,
absolutely not.
Okay. Well, my horse is pretty. That's all that matters.
Yeah, the only differences are the names, and the names don't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing adds to the horse's like overall value other than I think is the color and the name.
I see.
That's just all the aesthetic. But I love my horse.
I love my horse.
Don't you love your horse?
My horse's name is
What'd you
Sora.
name your horse? Sky. Very
Yes.
cool. Very cool.
What's your horse's name?
Speaking of horses, my horse's name was Nobu, which means truth.
Yes. Nice.
I love that name. I know it's the name of that expensive sushi restaurant, but the name overall is just really cool.
It's a great name.
Yeah. So the final part of Ghost of Tsushima that I wanted to talk about for this section was specifically about horses. I love the horseback riding, and I know you emphasized this in the last podcast, where it's the best. It's some of the best horse riding in all of video games.
It is.
To be honest,
it's super streamlined. Like I can call my horse while Jin is running, and my horse will come up, and Jin can still be running, and I'll just press R2 and he hops right back on, and it's seamless.
Oh, I love that so much. And the fact that you can collect things while on your horse, where other games are just like, oh no, you have to get off your horse. I'm like, bro, I don't want to get off my fucking horse. Let me just get the flower.
Yes.
Why can't I get the flower on the horse? It's a video game. Let me detract from reality just a little bit.
Yes.
And I love that Ghost of Tsushima's like, yo, guess what? We're gonna have the best horse mechanics in all of video games, and you can collect stuff while you're riding your horse. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude.
It's wonderful.
Like, yeah, it's great. I love it so much, and this is gonna tie into the next conversation, which is about Breath of the Wild, where after I finished Ghost of Tsushima, I was craving an open world game. Like I didn't want to replay Ghost of Tsushima because I wanted that to simmer a little bit. I was like, okay, I want to take a break because I played Ghost of Tsushima immediately after The Last of Us Part 2, and I had a better like overall mindset and positive vibe when playing Ghost of Tsushima because the game was about heroism. It's about, you feel like you're doing something, you feel like you're saving something, where as in The Last of Us Part 2, you don't really get that because everything feels hopeless in The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh yeah, it's a depressing game.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I want to keep the good vibes going. I want to play another open world game. And Breath of the Wild was always in the back of my mind, so I started playing it immediately after Ghost of Tsushima, and I was so turned off by the horse mechanics. I was like, bruh, what the fuck is this? This is so frustrating.
Yeah.
It was so different.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so spoiled with Ghost of Tsushima. I was like, man, this is already a bad time already, and I don't like it. And initially, I did not like Breath of the Wild as much, even though I played it years earlier. When I was replaying it, starting over, I was so turned off by it because I just kept comparing everything to Ghost of Tsushima, and I just kept thinking about it. But eventually I had to tell myself, okay, this is not Ghost of Tsushima. If I want to play Ghost of Tsushima, I'm going to play Ghost of Tsushima. I am just going to take that mindset away and enjoy Breath of the Wild for what it is. It worked. I love Breath of the Wild now. I know that Ghost of Tsushima and Breath of the Wild are totally different beasts, but I mean, everything is different in Breath of the Wild, and that's okay because it's a different game.
Yeah.
And when I heard that you were in the last podcast, you mentioned that you were playing it, so I think that's really cool that you're playing both of these open world games together because it's easy to draw comparisons, but obviously being critical of a game that came out like 5 years ago, and a game that came out last year are going to be totally different. But Breath of the Wild definitely takes that go anywhere, do anything vibe because you can't really do that in Ghost of Tsushima. You can't climb mountains like you can in Breath of the Wild. I just wanted to mention that I think it's really cool that you were able to play that you're able to play both Breath of the Wild and Ghost of Tsushima together.
Yeah. And I'll probably have more to talk about next week for Breath of the Wild, because this past week I've definitely been playing more Ghost of Tsushima as I got into the side stories. But yeah, I've only put in about 7 hours into Breath of the Wild so far, so definitely want to put at least 15 before I talk more about it next week. I agree with a lot of the basic things you're talking about. What I keep telling myself is, okay, one, this is a JRPG, so definitely I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of things that are just, that's part of the mechanics of a JRPG. This is more of an action role-playing game for PlayStation, so I really need to separate the two. And then on top of that, I have to keep telling myself, okay, Breath of the Wild came out in 2017. It's 3 years, almost 4 years old. So I just need to really separate these two open world games, even though in ways they give the same feeling, they are vastly different.
Yeah, and that's the initial thought I did not have going into Breath of the Wild, and I should have, but I'm happy that I changed my mind early on, because then I enjoyed the rest of the game. Did you get all the DLC, or did you just get the base game?
I got the base game for now. Okay,
cool. Because if you get the DLC, I recommend getting the motorcycle as soon as you can.
Huh?
Because it is better than all the horses combined.
Okay.
Like, that motorcycle is the best thing in the world, because it reminds me of Ghost of Tsushima, where you can just spawn it wherever you want, like, and it'll just disappear, and if it breaks, then you can just respawn it. And yeah, with a horse, you get so attached to it in Breath of the Wild, because you have to name it and stuff, and you're like, oh man, like, I don't want my horse to die or anything. And then if your horse dies, you're like, no. And then with the bike, you're like, it's just a piece of metal.
It's just a bike.
Metal. Yeah, and it's cool that you can. It basically has fuel, so you have to use like whatever you want to fuel it. Whereas opposed to a horse, you don't really have to feed it or anything. It's just, it has unlimited energy in a sense.
This is very cool. The motorcycle looks cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit faster than a horse, and it gets you around the whole map, and it just looks cool.
It does.
It's a fun time, and you're like, oh wow, this is great. And it's a cool little weapon. Not a weapon, a cool vehicle to have in the game.
Yes.
Also, side note, when I started playing Breath of the Wild and I got my horse, I named it Nobu.
Aww.
And then I had Kage Sora, and then I also had one named after one of my characters in Animal Crossing, one of the villagers.
Oh, that's cute.
The next part I want to talk about was Dad of Light, because you started watching that show, and I'm surprised and happy that you remembered.
I finished it. I finished the whole thing.
Nice. And did you like it overall?
Oh, it was so cute. It was a really adorable show, and it was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be, too.
Yeah, I love how humorous it is, how quirky it is. I think it's overall a good mixture of drama, Japanese culture, and video games, and I think it's really cool.
Yes. I love that show. It's a very quick watch. It discusses the relationship between a father and a son in a different way through video games that I think is endearing but also funny, because like I said, they really capture the quirks of playing an MMORPG and how awkward the characters look at times, even when you're having serious situations. And the plot was just really touching. I wasn't expecting what happened with the father, and I just really enjoyed how they rekindled their relationship. And also, I love too how I forgot the main character's name, but I love how he is just oblivious to all the people who like him at the company.
Yeah, he's like, yo, I just want to play some video games with my dad secretly.
I know.
We're like, what? But I like you. He's like, I gotta go play video games with my dad secretly. It's like, okay.
I know, right? What's his name's Inaba. Yeah, everyone likes Inaba, and Inaba's like, Maybe next week. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I gotta go play Final Fantasy 14.
I know.
I'll see you later.
You're
It's
killing
like,
me
okay.
right now.
Yeah, that's the part I was like, come on, man. At least be a little bit aware of what's going on. I know you're focused on your virtual life, but what about your real life, bro?
I know. The one thing that's not really a big deal, but I kind of thought of was that, at some point the dad, part of when their relationship deteriorated growing up, the dad was like, like, my son, like, is like a like a bum, or like he'll like kind of insult his son to friends. But I'm just like, doesn't his son have a nice office? Like, he has a decent salary office job. Like
Right?
Like, I was like, he's not he doesn't seem like a bum to me. Like, he's respected at his job. He's kind of like the main manager asks him for advice and for help on things. It didn't seem like the son was a deadbeat. So that was my only question, but not really a big deal.
Yeah, usually, I guess maybe the dad's still disappointed that his son's not doing something more than that. I mean, but they should be happy that the son has like a basic job.
Yeah, and like I said, he's really well respected at his job. Like, the manager goes to him all the time for help. So,
right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, really good watch. Like that's like a good weekend watch.
Yeah, it's short too.
Yes,
for a Japanese drama.
Super short.
So definitely check it out if you guys have time. You don't have to be a fan of Final Fantasy, because I definitely wasn't when I watched it, and I still loved the show. I thought it was really fun.
Oh yeah, you don't have to. As long as you have an understanding of what an MMORPG is, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, and as long as you like video games,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fun that way, because they make references to some other stuff too. Yeah, I think with the resurgence of, it seems like a lot more people are playing Final Fantasy 14 now.
Oh yeah,
for some reason, and so I think the show is a lot more relevant now than it was when it first came out. So, in the U.S. at least, in Japan, that the game was already booming over there, but now I think it's more relevant, which is awesome.
Yes. There's another video game-esque TV show that's on Netflix. I'm only 3 episodes in, but I really, really like it. It's called Alice in Borderland.
Oh.
And if you haven't seen it yet, or just for anyone who hasn't seen it, this might be my favorite, like, adaptation of, like, representing a video game in a movie or TV show. It's done really well, and it's based off of a survival video game. I mean, like, I'm not saying that, like, it's based off of a video game that exists. I'm just saying it's based off of the genre survival video games, and it's really good so far. I'm on episode 3. I know that they renewed it to season 2, so I'm sure it's popular. But definitely check it out if you haven't checked it out.
Yeah, I started episode 1. I finished it. I'm on episode 2, and it's an amazing show.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool.
I love it.
Definitely different from Dead of Light in the fact that they're playing a video game in real life.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to Dead of Light, which is like more based on realism.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But Alice in Borderland's awesome. It's so cool.
The action's really good on this show. I like the effects, and I just think that the representation of the video game in the TV show is very well done. And the cinematography is really good. A lot of their one-shot scenes, I'm like, dang, this how they got this to look, it looks nice.
Yeah, it's different, and I like that. I like how, like, the angles and shots are very, typical of Japanese dramas and media, but then you have other angles that I'm like, oh wow, this is definitely a lot cooler and wasn't what I was expecting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. The only bit of news I wanted to talk about was building off of your last news comment, which was on GameStop.
Oh, yes.
And the stock market.
Go for it. I basically like gave my spiel on how I feel. If you want to give your spiel.
Sure. So I agree with a lot of what you were saying, which was, little guy takes from the big guy, and a lot of people are helping each other, right? And I think that's a really good thing. And on a personal note, during the move, my brother and I started getting into stocks.
Okay.
And we were kind of unaware of what was going on around us as far as that was happening, because my brother has this friend who is an active trader. He's a day trader, and he was giving my brother advice, and my brother was kind of filtering it down to me, and we were, discussing what the outcomes were and doing a little bit of research here and there, just stuff not to like, give too much money to, but we were just curious about it. So we started with cryptocurrency, and I have a little bit of money in Ethereum, which is one of the open source cryptocurrency currencies in the world, as opposed to like, the biggest one being Bitcoin, which is the most expensive and the one that has everyone's attention.
Yeah.
So I've made a little bit of a return on my investment on Ethereum. On the flip side, though, we started talking about Robinhood. And mind you, this is like 2 weeks before all this shit went down. And we're like, all right, well, BlackBerry is probably going to go up because they have all their UI in a lot of smart cars. And, there's going to be a big unveil where BlackBerry is going to talk about like Tesla and a bunch of other stuff. And so like, okay, we're going to invest some shares in BlackBerry. So we both bought some BlackBerry shares. My brother was like, I have a feeling that Airbnb is going to go up in the future because once the pandemic is over, the shares are going to go up. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we both bought some Airbnb shares as more of a long-term thing.
Yeah.
The BlackBerry thing was short-term. And I started looking into more stuff, and then the whole GameStop thing went down, and I was like, kind of want to see what happens. So I actually own 2 shares of GameStop stock. And I also have some AMC stock as well.
Nice.
And yeah, and it just happened to, fall in line with what was happening with all that. I haven't sold it.
You should. I don't think you should sell it yet either.
No, I'm definitely not. I'm waiting. I've been watching our Wall Street bets. I've been like looking at stock market charts and predictions and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm definitely holding. I'm part of the hold gang. I'm gonna be holding that stock. I only got 2, but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I'm not gonna be selling anytime soon. I think I'm gonna wait. But it would be nice to get a little bit of money, a little bit of extra money. And unfortunately, I am stuck with Robinhood for the time being. I might transfer over to another broker, but the whole negativity towards Robinhood came out, and I was like, oh shit, I feel like I kind of chose the wrong side, but it's okay. Everything is safe, everything is good. It's dope, and I'm really excited for everyone that has the stock, and I'm happy that people are changing lives. There came out that there's a story where this dude gave out switches to kids at a hospital, and I was like, that is awesome.
That's great.
That is, yeah, you're using Robinhood exactly for what it's for. I'm sure he didn't use Robinhood, but like the name is implying, steal from the rich, give to the poor, right? That's the whole point of the character of Robinhood, not to block off certain like stocks from being bought. That Robinhood never did that. Robinhood wasn't like, yo, so I'm gonna block off these stocks. Friar Tuck, how you feel about that? It's like, no, he didn't do that shit. Come on, man. Robinhood stole from the rich.
Yeah,
man. That's the whole point. So yeah, I'm kind of critical of everything that happened with Robinhood. I think it's really stupid, but it's fine. I think now that they reopened all the stocks to have no limits in Robinhood, so now GameStop and AMC don't have any limits. Before they limited it to like 150 per person or something, and now they took off the limit. So hopefully the stock will increase value.
Yes.
In this coming week, because it shot up a little bit. Shot up a few points yesterday. 2 days ago on Friday, which was the last business day. But we'll see what happens in the coming week. I'm really excited. Everyone who's listening that has some stock in GameStop or AMC or BlackBerry or one of those big ones that is being watched by everybody at Wall Street Bets, make sure that you watch the stock market. It's gonna be interesting what happens next.
It's gonna be very interesting.
Also, Mark Cuban did an AMA on Wall Street Bets, and he was telling everybody to hold. And everyone's like, yo, Mark Cuban's telling us to hold. And then immediately after he did the AMA on Reddit, he went over to like CNBC or some like news channel, and he was doing a phone interview, and he was like, yeah, I just came off of Wall Street Bets. Everybody needs to hold. And I was like, yo, Mark Cuban is a G. That is dope.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
He's like, I love how you guys are like, fucking up the big guys. I love how the little guy is messing up the big guys. And that is awesome. And I was like, yo, Mark Cuban, let's go, dude. That's sick.
That's pretty hilarious.
It's great. It's great. And on a more personal note, speaking of money and stuff, I am debt-free of all my student loans. I paid all of them off last Friday.
Congrats! That's exciting!
Thanks. Thank you.
That's amazing. Oh, I love hearing news like that.
Yeah, it's good to be financially free.
Yeah,
now.
good work.
I'm really happy.
Good job,
about
Jeremy.
That. Thank you. But that's all I wanted to talk about. That's all the news I had. The last piece of news that I have was that Gearbox Software has been purchased by THQ Nordic, specifically their parent company, but of course it's going to be probably rolled into THQ Nordic.
Yeah, I read that too. The parent company is called Embracer Group.
Right. And there will be no changes to the 550 staff members of Gearbox Software. This includes controversial CEO Randy Pitchford, Mr. Leave My Porn Stick at Medieval Times, Randy Pitchford.
Sounds about right.
So, yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's not changing.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, whatever that means, he's going to be there. So, I don't think THQ Nordic's going to change anything on the Gearbox Software side. I literally think they're just going to leave Gearbox to do, to their own devices. And that's good because Gearbox still makes great games despite everything about their CEO. So I'm here for it. I'm happy that they got bought out by THQ Nordic because THQ Nordic's been buying up a lot of stuff, and they've been kind of leaving that stuff alone for the most part, and that's good.
Yeah, definitely don't sleep on Sweden. Don't sleep on Sweden.
There you go.
I wonder if they would buy 2K.
It's possible.
Yeah. Just because Gearbox kind of has an association with 2K.
Yo, I know, right?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But definitely they're on the come up of something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The last piece of news that I have is also Google Stadia announced that they're shutting down 2 internal studios that were being used to develop first-party games for Stadia. So they're shutting it down like even before the game comes out. I don't even think they're going to finish the game.
That's right. They those two studios are literally the only studios for Stadia that were building original content.
Yes. Which means Stadia's now going to stick to just third party.
Oh man, I feel like Stadia's on life support.
I mean, we did predict this was going to happen.
It's too early for this kind of thing to come out. And to kind of reiterate our thoughts from last time, we think that this is definitely part of the future, and it has the potential to be something better. But there's a lot of issues surrounding this as well. Like, once Stadia goes away, there goes your entire game's library. Like, you can't play it anymore. That's it. It's gone. That's different from, say, Origin, Steam, or Epic, where if the service goes away, that's it. But like, you'll still have internet. You still have the ability to play games on other platforms like Steam. But with Stadia, that's it. Like, you can't transfer your game files anywhere. You can't play it on any other devices because it's so unique. It's so, it's so different than what's out right now. So there's a lot of risk when you're trying to invest in Stadia as far as like a game goes. I just see this as Stadia's on its last legs because Google's investment didn't really pay off, and a lot of people aren't really playing it.
I know. And what's really okay, I'm not surprised that they're shutting down their internal studio. I am surprised that they didn't just put out a game first before shutting it down, because Google Stadia, like, I have no idea what's even up with a lot of their services right now. But what if the first party game you were developing was actually a good game? And what if that game was the thing that, brought potential to your platform? So they gave up without trying, which is normal for Google. But
yeah, they're known for just like making things and then being like, all right, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I don't need to do this anymore.
But I do think it's a shame that you shut it down before it comes out, because for all we know, it might have actually been a good game.
Exactly.
So, it's just unfortunate, more developers will be laid off. It's just, yeah. And we always hate when that happens.
Yeah. It seems like the staff at the first party studio all either got notices or maybe I know there was like another high profile person that announced on Twitter that they're moving on to a different studio or something. And I was like, okay, well, it begins. So we'll see.
Yep. I will say, weirdly, Judgment's going to come out on Google Stadia on April 23rd. And I was like,
that's weird.
And I was like, oh, that's an interesting game to put on Stadia and not on PC and Steam yet.
I know, right? Okay.
To be fair, I don't understand RGG, like, their reasoning for any of their Steam game releases at this point. So
yeah, me too, but I'm just happy for the fact that the games got released on PC so that there's a bigger audience for them.
Oh yes, totally.
Like, that's the only thing I'm happy about.
Yes.
But as far as like business decisions go, I'm like, all right,
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't get that.
Okay.
I will never understand the order.
Yeah, maybe it's like I don't think it's an exclusive thing. Is it a timing thing? Is it a development thing?
Maybe.
I don't know. Well, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But I got my PlayStation versions, and I'm pretty happy with those.
Oh yeah, I'm totally fine with mine.
Cool. Let's move on to the questions that you
Great.
You glossed over last time, and now we can answer them in depth.
Cool.
So they're both from Chariot Goblin, but the first one is from episode 154, the Like a Dragon Yakuza spoiler cast. And Chariot Goblin says, I completely did not know about Hades' amulet until now. I even completed the battle arena. I also found out that you're able to fast travel via the taxi app on the phone menu. I found out about all this after beating the game. I don't blame you, because there's a lot of things you don't find out about this game until later because of how detailed and in-depth it is, and I really like that about the game. But I can understand that it can be daunting and you can get lost easily with all the stuff that's happening. Sorry, there's a motorcycle that went by.
It's all good.
Yeah, Hades Amulet is pretty OP overall. Yeah, fast travel via the taxi app was something I found out early on, and I was like, I gotta make use of this as much as possible. Especially when you're a multimillionaire in the game, you could just use the taxi as much as you want. And it's totally okay that you didn't find out about everything.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Even if you didn't find out about it, at the end of the day, you beat the game too, and it's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And it's a big accomplishment.
Absolutely. So thank you for that question, and / comment, I should say, not really a question. So the next question was also from Chariot Goblin from our website. Thank you for submitting via our website. I think it's awesome. And they say, hey, Downtime, hopefully you all had a happy holiday. Thank you. After Yakuza 7, what do we think is next for the series? Could it be Yakuza 8, Kiwami 3, or Judgment 2? Will Yakuza 8 return to the beat-em-up combat? Will Sega ever localize the feudal Japan spin-offs? In the meantime, I should probably play my sealed copy of Judgment despite its mixed reception. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Well, thank you so much for your comment and question. Wow, there's a lot of parts to this. And I know at least I wanted to wait for me to answer one of these questions. So again, together we can answer all of these, but Elisa, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
What part do we want to kick off first?
Well, we'll do it line by line. How about the first one? What's next for the series? So
I personally think it's Judgment 2, but I think that the next Yakuza 8 is being made. Like, I think Judgment 2 and Yakuza 8 are being developed as we speak right now. But when I say developed, doesn't necessarily mean that they're in the game design moment for it. It just means that their stories are being built out right now. But I do think Judgment 2 will come out first before Yakuza 8. I think that if Judgment 2 comes out and Judgment 2 is beat 'em up, they're not gonna put beat 'em up for Yakuza 8 and they're gonna stick with the RPG. JRPG. Turn-based battle.
Yeah. So I agree. I feel like Judgment 2 will come out after will come out next. Because I feel like there's a lot of potential for the game to have been in pre-production, or at least in production during the final phases of Yakuza Like a Dragon. That being said, even though it had a mixed reception over here, I definitely feel like it did better in Japan because of the main character, the voice actor, and the likeness was Takuya Kimura. He's one of the most popular actors, singers in all of Japan. So that I think was a driving point for a lot of people to play the game in Japan. I could see Judgment retaining the beat 'em up style and Yakuza 8 coming out after that and retaining the JRPG style that Yakuza 7 established. Because again, this is a new character in the Yakuza series, they want the games to go in a new direction. I could still see them using the JRPG aspect of it, and that's okay. Again, Alyssa and I both enjoyed that part of it. We were initially, skeptical of what was gonna come out of that, and it seems like a lot of people were in the same boat. There were a lot of people in the U.S. who reacted negatively, and there were a lot of people who were, kind of on the fence about if they should like it or not. When it finally came out, everybody agreed that it was good. Like there were no glaring issues with it. So I'm sure some people like myself miss the beat 'em up style, but I think that's what Judgment's gonna be. I think Judgment's gonna retain that beat 'em up style so that Yakuza, the mainline Yakuza series, can have the JRPG aspect. Kiwami 3, I don't think that's going to happen because 3, 4, and 5 were just recently remastered. I don't think there's a need to have a Kiwami version of 3, but that's not to say it would be cool to see that. I definitely think it would be awesome. But I don't think Sega is going to prioritize making a Kiwami 3, 4, or 5 because those games are already, built on the engine that Kiwami 1 was on. It's weird because Kiwami 1, 0 and Kiwami 1 have the same engine that 3, 4, and 5 have, but Yakuza Kiwami 2 has the same engine that 6 was on, simply because 6 came out before Yakuza Kiwami 2. And it's weird, the engine change, because you go from the Yakuza 3 engine in Yakuza Kiwami, then you have the Dragon engine from Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, and then you go back to the Kiwami engine, you go back to the Yakuza 3 engine, of course, for Yakuza 3. I'm just saying words, but my point is, I don't know if Yakuza Kiwami 3 is going to come out, but I do agree with Alyssa saying that Judgment 2 will come out first, and then Yakuza 8. So that kind of answers the next part of the question, which is, will Yakuza 8 return to the beat-em-up combat? Again, yeah, we think that Judgment is probably going to have that still, but Yakuza 8 might not. And Alyssa, do you think Sega will ever localize the Feudal Japan spinoff in the Yakuza series?
I think that as of 2021, yes. The reason being that the Yakuza franchise has really grown and proved to have a oh my gosh, I can't talk right now, has proven to find a fan base, oh gosh, in the United States and globally, not just in Japan. So that gives more incentive for Ishin to come out. And I think that from what we've seen, we've proven that, a lot of people play Yakuza to do wacky shit. And this is the exact type of wacky thing that the people want. So I think it might take a while, but the growing fan base gives more incentive than it would have, say, like 5 years ago when Yakuza 0 came out.
Yeah, I totally understand that. So my answer to this question is yes and no. So yes, I agree with a lot of your points. I think that it's time for this game to come out to the West because it'll give us some insight into Japanese history, and a lot of samurai-esque themes are present in this game. I know that there's some fun references to samurai movies, and all the characters in the game are based off of characters from the current Yakuza franchise. But their names are different. They all play different characters, but their faces are all the same. If that makes sense. So you have Akiyama playing someone else. You got Majima playing someone else, and of course Kiryu playing someone else. So yes, I think that this game should come out to the West because a lot of people are clamoring for it. I definitely want to play it. I am so interested in this game and what it could be. I know that there's a lot of fan translations of the game that are out online. You can look those up for yourself and see what they are. And the reason why I say no is simply because of the themes and story of the game. It's so Japanese. Like, it takes place during the end of the Tokugawa shogunate. I'm not going to explain all of this because I think this is going to take too much time to talk about Japanese history. But the game is so rooted in Japanese history from the tail end of the Edo period, with characters from real life that do certain things that are similar to their real life counterparts, that I think it might be too off-putting for Americans to understand or even like what's there. But tying back into the yes answer, I think that Ryoga Gotoku Studio should release it because it is so Japanese, because there's so much Japanese history to it. It'll help a lot of people understand that time period and the culture during that time period, and because it's so different, it's so unique. Usually when you play a samurai game, it's easy to understand and it's easy to play. But I feel like for the Yakuza games, they're known for being complicated. They're known for having very Japanese things like, canned soft drinks and vending machines that are different flavors. There's different coffees. There's meat shops. There's meat and rice bowl shops. There's convenience stores. There's pachinko machines. There's hostess clubs. Those are things that are not American at all. Then Americans can't familiarize themselves with. So I think that Ryoga Gotoku Studio should bring it over, simply for the fact that it showcases a side of Japanese history that Americans aren't really familiar with, and they can learn something. But I also think that because it's so Japanese and because it's so much based on Japanese history, that it's so complicated that maybe Americans would be off-put by it. And I'm just using Americans as kind of the general Western standard because this game is obviously marketed more towards an American audience. So international audiences, I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave you guys out, but for the purposes of this podcast, for me being American and Alyssa also being American, that's my frame of reference for now. I know this game is released in other places worldwide, but yeah, those are my points. That I really want it, but I understand why they won't release it, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what they should do? Hear me out, Jeremy.
Yes.
Okay. Take Dead Souls. You take that concept that there is a zombie apocalypse, but you do instead of a full game, you do a DLC off of Like a Dragon or any of the Yakuza games. So it's a quick 10-hour DLC of just zombies wreaking havoc in Ijincho.
And that sounds awesome.
And it's just a quick 10-hour DLC.
But that's pretty much what Yakuza Dead Souls is.
No, that's what I mean. But that was like for like the Kiryu time, so we do it now for the Ichi times.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
In
yeah,
Ijincho too.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got confused for a second.
And then just make it a DLC.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. I can see why they won't release it though, because that game kind of released at the height of zombie games. But zombie games aren't really the most prevalent thing anymore. But that would be really cool. I'd love to see that concept.
Yes. Also, zombie games aren't necessarily trending, but it's the way that you do the zombie game that is what's most important.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true. As we saw with Back 4 Blood, which is basically just Left 4 Dead 3, people are craving that kind of game. And it's definitely different from other zombie games like it, because it's loosely based off of Left 4 Dead, and Left 4 Dead 2 is so beloved within the shooter community that I think a zombie game like it needs to come out. So I'm happy that Back 4 Blood's going to come out, and that it's a zombie game that is definitely different than other zombie games like Call of Duty or like other zombie survival horror games.
Yes. Definitely, I would appreciate a DLC. Ryogaku Toku doesn't really do DLC, but maybe that's exactly the content we need. Just some fun side stories. It's similar to how with Kiwami, Kiwami Part 2, a lot of the appeal was they added a 10-hour story to Majima and the conclusion of Yakuza 0. Maybe that's what we need. We need some good old fun DLC side stories.
Yeah, I agree.
Need more of it, at least. Maybe I could actually see a certain someone that I didn't see in Like a Dragon in a side story. Who knows? But yeah.
Where's my boy Akiyama? Where's he at?
I
haven't seen him in a while. I really do miss him. He's so dope.
Oh my gosh.
All right, cool. Well, everyone, if you would like to leave us a comment or question, you can go to our website, www.Downtime.Live. You can click on the contact form, fill it out, just as Chariot Goblin did earlier, and leave us a comment or question that way. You can also send us an email the old-fashioned way at contact@Downtime.Live. Again, that's contact@Downtime.Live. That will send us an email with your comment or question. You can leave your comment or question on wherever this podcast is hosted that has the ability to leave comments on. You can find our podcast on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. We have a Steam group. We have a Twitch. We have a Twitter. We have Discord. On our Discord, if you go to our website, click on the word community, you'll be able to join our Discord with a link. And we talk about everything from video games to movies to music. So, hey, Chariot Goblin, calling you out. If you want to join our Discord, you're more than welcome to. You can talk to us one-to-one. So check that out. And yeah, any final thoughts, Alyssa?
That's it. Except just a fun fact, both of our birthdays are this week. So
that's right. Yeah,
hey.
February birthday month. Let's go.
So that's going to be a good time.
Yeah. I'm excited. Any big plans for your birthday?
No, not really. Just there's only so much you can do during a, pandemic birthday.
Yeah, same. I'm not going to be doing anything in particular.
It's all good though. Saving money for future trips, really.
Yep, exactly.
But, yep, that's all. Hope everyone has a good day. Happy Super Bowl.